Right, welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, where we talk about who's left and staying in the contest. Last one standing, and Budge, it crept down. This was the slowest drop.
Yeah, Paul, the favourable teams won. Liverpool were the key teams, although they had to beat Sheffield United despite their poor form. Spurs, good early start. But Paul, it starts warming up now.
Yeah, 33 people were in Liverpool who went through.
Yeah.
9 Everton, 5 Spurs, and 4 Man City. Not many people can have Man City left. They're a juggernaut at the moment.
Paul, you laugh. I think there's 6 people can still use Man City.
Okay, Budge, just to talk about Crystal Palace knocked 1 out.
Yeah.
Leeds knocked 1 out. And Leicester City knocked 1 out. So 51 and 54. It's a big carry through. Right, so with that 51, let's have a look at who you singled out to be the guys. Yeah. Sean Matthew, without a surname, still got 6.
That's his surname, by the way, Paul. Matthew is his surname, yeah?
No, that's not his. Like Michael Owen.
And Neville, Gary Neville's dad,
yeah. And he's got 6.
Yeah, he's done well, all on Liverpool.
So now he starts sweating.
Well, no, it's, but Paul, he's got 6 entries, so he can...
the man I took to win it, Sean Singleton. Sean Singleton, the legend, 4 left, right there. Kevin Power, another guy who hangs in, eh?
Yeah, Fulham guy.
3 there. 3, and those were 2 picks. Hassan Morley's come down a bit, eh?
No, he had 5. Yeah, he went 3 up with Liverpool when they drew the other week, but he had 2 last week, both went through.
Dean Moody from GoldCircle, moving well. Des Farid hanging tough.
Yeah.
Sean Phillips, last winner.
Reigning
champion. He still wears the crown.
Yeah.
And Raquel Quintas, the only lady left.
Only lady left, Paul.
Okay, sure. There's 51 entries left. Now, you've given me some chart here, but you better explain this to me.
Okay. Of all those 51 entries left, of the entries, 14 can use Liverpool this week.
Got you.
7 can use Tottenham, which I think...
Which games are you talking about?
Saturday. There's no, obviously, game. This is Saturday, Sunday, Monday games.
Okay.
So, Liverpool are at home to Fulham. Tottenham at home to Crystal Palace. 7 can use that. 6 can use Man City to beat Man United. And there are 39 people or entries can use Arsenal.
Top favourites, Jacob Pretorius, Kevin Moody.
Well, I had a look and I said, who can use the big teams left? And they both got a couple to use. So on that assumption,
Mood
Paul,
the dude.
Hanging in, Mood, yeah.
And Jacko, also a good punter.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can get all of Stevie B and move on to them. Stevie B, are you in London in the studio?
I am here. Good morning.
Morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
How's your weather? Getting better?
Yes, slowly. Slowly.
Steve, off the topic, how did it go with the vaccine last week?
Yeah, fine. Just to be honest, I was in and out in minutes. Very well organised, and pleased to say I'm one of the sort of 21 million or so that have had their first vaccine.
Which vaccine did you have?
The AstraZeneca one.
AstraZeneca, okay. No, that's good news. So, all well. Is there a second one?
Yes,
couple of
that's
weeks'
all
time.
booked in for 11 weeks' time.
11 weeks, okay. Well done, you're safe. So, the school kids go back in England on the 8th.
Yeah, so the majority start to go back next week. I understand that what they do is they'll be testing them when they go in.
Yes.
So there'll be, I think they sort of do that over a number of days, and then they'll be tested every week. So obviously it's the start of the opening up of everything.
And how does it affect you, Steve?
Not really. I'm still working from home. So in all honesty, nothing else is open. Shops are not open yet. Pubs, restaurants, nothing's open yet. So no changes here.
Steve's still working from home. He's a gardener. All right, let's talk Premiership results. But I want you to go through these with Steve.
I'm going to say, talking about working from home, I think Guardiola will be working from home the next few league games, Paul. 4-1, very strong towards the end. 1-1, I thought Wolves may hang on, but once the gates open, they firmly opened.
Yeah, it's the same as the game against West Ham. I mean, in both those games, City got caught at the back, but they're just very, and certainly against Wolves. Once they got that second, the floodgates started to open, and it was game over. But they're not. I mean, they're winning now. I mean, obviously they've got this incredible run. I mean, they're only 3 games away from the best run of any European team ever of consecutive wins. So, without really playing, I think, at the same sort of level as they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, totally agree. Steve, I watched a good game last night. Burnley, the team that always seemed to watch against Leicester. I think Leicester under severe pressure. How do you see it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it shows, doesn't it, that if you haven't quite got the depth in the squad, you get a few key injuries, and they have now. Obviously, losing James Maddison and now Harvey Barnes, plus sort of one or two others. I think that really showed.
Is Vardy playing?
Yeah.
Vardy played. He's just gone off the boil a little bit, but, but Harvey Barnes for me has been
he's been their
really,
best,
their best forward this year, and he's out for a little while. And I think it's they've got another tough game at the weekend at Brighton, who really have got to go for it. So I think it's the sort of game a few weeks ago I would have thought that they would have gone to Burnley and won comfortably, but Burnley, as we know, are a tough team to beat at home.
Yeah.
But did Dwight McNeil play?
Yes, left-footed player for Burnley. Nice player.
Nice player, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got Chris Wood back from injury.
Yes.
He's been out quite a bit for a while. So they're probably, although they're close to the bottom, they're
not going down now.
to get themselves out.
Yeah, and Sheffield United hung on. How they hung on, I don't know. Steve, did you see the red card?
I did. Yeah, I mean it was interesting. I mean he gave him a yellow, and then it was upgraded.
I thought that was harsh.
That's VAR. So
one call.
I don't know, but to be fair, that was the sort of performance they gave last year when they dug in and they really showed a bit more fight than they have been doing. So I think they're still obviously clear favourites to go down, but I think they're just sort of saying, look, don't think you're just going to come here and walk all over us. We're going to put up a fight. Yeah,
I think they've accepted they're going down, so let's play and have a go. What's the worst that can happen? We're going down anyway.
We're going down, yeah. Stevie, Man United, what's your take on them?
Well, last night was a poor performance. It really was. There just didn't seem to be much urgency. A lot of, we said before, the commentary yesterday said the amount of times that Bruno Fernandes gave the ball away, and Rashford as well.
That's unusual.
They just didn't seem to. They only ended up with only one shot on target, and that was quite near the beginning. They just struggled to find a way to break down a very resolute Palace defence.
Yeah, I said to Paul before we started, Steve, Mourinho effects of Old Trafford are now coming or bearing fruit. £90 million for Matic and Fred combined. How can anybody in their right mind pay that money? One thing about Guardiola, all his midfield players can play.
They're geniuses.
They're good on the ball, they get forward. Fred and Matic. I think Fred, maybe I'm wrong, he's got to be the worst shooter I've ever seen in a Man United jersey. He is pathetic.
Yeah, he is.
Well, they don't look as if they're going to score. I mean, Matic had a shot, and
it got deflected.
Had a bit of an injury, otherwise he might have started. But you got sort of two holding midfielders, against a team like Palace that sit back.
Yeah.
It didn't appear to be the right tactic.
Yeah.
So, but the cutting edge just wasn't there. So in the end, obviously with the teams below City all dropping points, Guardiola's looking at it thinking.
No, he knows it's over.
We're not playing the best football, but here we are. We're now 15 points clear, and the league could be won with half a dozen games to spare easily at this rate.
All right, Steve. Big game tonight. Fulham
big
Tottenham.
Game.
How do you see it going? Can you sneak another point?
I have to. Well, I'd be happy with a point. I have to say, we're disappointed we didn't take all three at Palace. Tottenham played very well against Burnley. I mean, interestingly, he started with all the big names up front. You've got sort of Moura, Gale, Bale, and Son and Kane playing, and
it showed.
There was no chance they were going to give that lead away once they went 2 or 3 up. So. I think it'll be a tough game. I think that if we got a point, defensively we're much stronger, but I think that if Tottenham throw everything at us like they can, I think it's going to be very tough for us.
Early kick-off, Steve?
Yeah, 6 o'clock here, 8 o'clock.
So you won't go to bed in a bad mood. You're lucky. Unless
Steve, all I can say is good luck. Divided opinions, obviously, in the studio, but I hope you win easy.
Yeah, I hope you win easily. Easily.
I think winning easy would be a shock.
Yeah.
A win would be a marvellous result, but I think a point, and wouldn't be the worst result for us.
It'd be a great result.
It'd be a good guy. That Lookman can play a bit.
Yeah.
Look, we've held our own against the big teams. I mean, we're making ourselves very hard to beat, as we know. So 4 defeats in 16. I mean, we are. We've only lost by more than 1 goal twice since the beginning of the season. So it's. But I think we've got a few tough games coming up. So
I hope you get out of it, Steve, because Newcastle are teetering. Now, look, if you win tonight, you go ahead of them.
if
the
we
goal
win
difference.
tonight, we go above Newcastle and Brighton. But
Yeah.
there's a long way. I mean,
Yeah,
look,
a long way to go.
we finished the season at home to Newcastle. So as long as we are within 3 points of them, it's in our own hands.
You take that now.
All right, Stevie, just don't get your hopes up. But anyway, Liverpool-Chelsea. Liverpool-Chelsea. What's the story? Good game.
I
Good
think
game.
It's sort of game. Well, look, I mean, Liverpool came back. Wouldn't say strongly. I mean, they did enough to win at Sheffield United. Chelsea was a fairly dour game. This has probably got draw written all over it for me. Liverpool's defence still.
Chelsea are so like United defensive. Yeah.
I think they're the sort of team that cancel each other out like Chelsea and United did the other day. But I mean, obviously Liverpool need to win this. I mean, obviously only 1 point from the last 5 games. They want to get back into that top 4, and this is an opportunity. But whoever wins this puts themselves back into the top 4. So there's a lot to play for.
All right, Steve. We'll leave the West Brom Everton because we've got to go to the weekend.
Yeah.
Burnley kick it off at home against Arsenal. There are going to be a lot of last one standing selections on Arsenal. Do you think they're right?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that Arsenal played well, and the highlights I saw at Leicester, and that was a good result to come back from an early goal down. But again, still Arsenal very inconsistent. But I think it is the sort of game. If there was to be a winner, I suspect Arsenal. But Burnley have beaten them before. Burnley have out-muscled Arsenal, and you're just going to be interesting to see what sort of team Arteta puts out. I think there'll be a close game. I don't think there'll be more than 1 goal in it, though.
All right. Now, Sheffield United against my fancy this week, Southampton. How do you see it going?
Yeah, well, I think this is a big game for Southampton. Obviously, only 1 point themselves in the last sort of 7 games.
Yeah.
They're close. They're probably too close for comfort at the bottom at the moment. I think they certainly got enough about them to go there and win. But then you look at the fight that Sheffield United put up. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they play like that they hold Southampton. I'm not sure they'll beat them though.
Okay. Now the big game is Liverpool-Fulham. Can you get another point?
Look, I think it's unlikely. I think Liverpool at home will probably be too strong. I'd love us to go there and get a point. I think defensively we're playing very well, but you're still up against a very formidable attack. But, I think we need to be a bit brave as well because, we've seen teams that have played Liverpool in the last month or so, that if you have a bit of a go at them, they are soft at the back and obviously their defensive situation hasn't really improved. So, I think that if we don't give away a silly early goal, I think there's every opportunity we can keep it very tight. But, again, I'm just, without being too pessimistic, I'm not expecting anything, but a point would be a great result.
Yeah, okay. The Manchester derby, Man City too good?
I think they would be. I mean, United do raise their game more.
They raise their game every time.
They need to, and I think they've got to play better than they did last night, or they will get upset. But Pep knows. If they win that one, then that says goodbye to United's chance of getting anywhere near to them. So I think there'll be goals. I hope so. As a neutral, you want to see goals. There's been too many 0-0s recently, so I fancy City. I think it will be close though.
Okay, now this is going to be one of my better bets of the weekend. West Ham at homes to Leeds United. At homes to Leeds United. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I think there'll be goals. I think that both teams have got goals in them at the moment. West Ham have, I thought they probably a little bit fortunate to hang on against Tottenham and played well at City.
Yes.
Could even have pinched an equaliser. I think there'll be goals. Leeds are very inconsistent, as we know.
Yeah.
When they're good,
they're great to watch.
And they are good to watch, and I think there will be goals. So, I fancy a scoring draw there, maybe something like 2-2. Probably be an exciting game to watch.
Definitely won't be a 0-0 board draw like last night at Sellers Park.
How many United been in a couple of
United? I said last week, a mediocre team with 3 or 4 exceptional players, and without Pogba, we can't create a thing.
He's not playing, is he?
No, he's hopefully back in midweek for Europa League.
Steve, before we ask you your opinions on the Championship, I had a look at the log this morning. And Norwich is striding clear, eh?
Well clear, yeah. Won last night too.
Yeah, they've put a really good run together. And teams below them, on the whole, have been a little bit more inconsistent. But at the moment, and Norwich had a big win last night, beating Brentford, and deservedly so. I watched some of the highlights, read the reports, and that was a huge win for them. They're really are in pole position to go straight back up again.
Yeah. Steve, I was going to make this my best bet of the weekend, but because it was a Friday night, I reneged. Huddersfield Town at home to Cardiff City. How do you see it?
Cardiff.
Yeah, I fancy Cardiff to go there and get a result. I mean, they are under Mick McCarthy. First 10 games, won 7, drawn 3.
Yeah.
Had a really big win the other night against Derby at home. Huddersfield, we know, had that sort of shock result against Swansea recently, but apart from that, that's their only win in 11 games.
Yeah.
I think Cardiff will be too strong.
Okay, how are your brother's team Watford? Early kick-off against Forest. How do you see it?
Yeah, I fancy them. I mean, they put a good run together. They've got themselves back level with Brentford, only behind them on goal difference after being a half a dozen points behind. I think they'll win. That Forest a bit too inconsistent, but I think Watford are just doing enough now on the whole to dig out results.
Yeah, now the form team in the Championship is Barnsley. 6 wins in a row. Can they make it 7?
6 wins in a row.
So I mean, having a tremendous run.
Yeah,
really are. When they looked after half a dozen games before they sacked their manager. They looked like they were relegation favourites.
Yes.
And actually, last night at one point they were sitting in a playoff place. It was only the late goals for the other teams that.
They've got a game in hand.
Yeah.
On the others, they've got a game in hand.
I mean, really unfancied team. I mean, they've got no budget to speak of. If you looked at their squad and you'd think you haven't heard of most of them.
Who's the boss?
They paid virtually nothing for them. So I think the new manager, Valerian Ishmael, has done a fantastic job.
Israeli manager. Yeah.
Whether or not they can get.
Do you know, Steve? If they win that game in hand, they go to 57 points along Reading. Yeah, no, Reading goal difference keep them slightly ahead of them.
I mean, they haven't. Obviously, I guess they haven't got the depth in the squad, so they lost 1 or 2 key players. But at the moment, they're scoring goals, and that was a good win last night. And I fancy them to beat Birmingham.
Okay, Steve. Bristol City, 2 wins in a row under the new manager. Then they got beat last night, conceded late to Bournemouth. You think they can beat QPR?
I think they will. I think with Nigel Pearson there, they had a couple of good, two good away wins, and I think it was a very late goal that beat them from Bournemouth. Otherwise, it sounded like it was a reasonable performance. So I think they will be too strong for QPR. Okay,
you mentioned Bournemouth. They travel to my beloved Preston North End. Any chance of an upset?
Well, you see, again, look at Preston. You don't know what you're going to get. One week they win, next week they lose. They were, ahead of Millwall the other night, as you know, and ended up losing to a late goal. I think Bournemouth had a couple of decent results.
Yeah, I know. I watched them beat Watford.
They're in the top 6 as we talk.
They're dug deep, and it was a good win last night at Bristol City. So I think if there was to be a winner, I'd probably plump for Bournemouth.
Yeah, so I watched a bit of the fiery episode when they beat Watford 1-0. Jack Wilshere got sent off. They've got some nice players at Bournemouth. New manager, maybe they can squeak in the playoffs. But
well, I think when you look, I mean, really, they did keep, apart from someone like Callum Wilson, they kept a lot of their Premiership squad intact.
Yeah,
and I think that we thought that they were going to be. In line for an automatic place, but and they dropped away from that. But they're definitely.
Where did Fraser go? Newcastle.
Yeah,
Fraser in
Callum Wilson went to Newcastle, and Ryan Fraser. I think they're definitely favourites to get a playoff place.
All right, Steve, how's your best bet?
Steve, last week you sneaked in with Brentford, came from behind to get up. What's your call this week?
I'm going to go for Watford. I just think at home, having a good run, got themselves, joint second. I think they'll edge that. It'll be close, but I think they'll edge that.
Okay, and your best value bet, Steve? Bristol City, by the sounds of it?
It is, yeah. I'm going to go for Bristol City. I think they'll be a little bit too strong. I was looking at Cardiff as my best bet before, but I think, but I just fancy Watford at home. I think Bristol City. I think to have QPR favourites seems a bit of a surprise to me. So I fancy Bristol City at home.
All right, Steve. Well, have a good day and have a good evening, and let's hope you can sleep a lot better than you did after watching that Manchester debacle.
I'm sure there'll be a message or two at some point this evening.
Stevie, keep it tidy. Speak to you soon.
Absolutely. Take care.
All the best, Steve.
Bye-bye. Right, let's go Premier League before we touch on the results from the Championship. But Premier League, Budge, we need your input here. Are Arsenal strong enough?
I think so, Paul. Burnley, they're a hard-working side, Paul. I thought they could have sneaked it last night, but they play a lunchtime kickoff against Arsenal who'll be fresh. You got to fancy Arsenal, but if they can't deal with the set pieces from Burnley, they'll be in trouble.
Could be interesting, yeah.
I've got to fancy Arsenal.
No, you fancy Southampton.
I fancy
your best bet.
Paul, Monday we had a bet to come with Everton.
Yes.
I thought they deserved something out of that game.
Yeah.
Vestergaard missed a great chance late on. Paul, I think 12-10, they're my best bit of the weekend.
The last 5 away they've lost.
They've all lost, but, it's the performances, Paul. I just saw Monday, and they've lost a few games that have been close, Paul. The only team they've beat have been Liverpool in like the last 10, but Sheffield United, tough game last night.
Yeah.
That's why I just think
Hard to
Southampton,
maintain,
hard to maintain, Paul.
Villa want to bounce back. Both Villa and Wolves got a smack.
Well, without Grealish, they just seem to have the spark.
Is he still out?
Barkley was on the bench last night. They don't look the same team. They lost 1-0. They didn't deserve to get beat. Paul, Wolves played well against Man City for a long time. By the last 10 minutes.
Is there a striker back yet?
No, Jimenez, no. Raul, he's struggling. Paul, I think this has got draw written all over it.
All right.
Of the two teams, I like Wolves.
Brighton are going to make Leicester think.
Paul, I think this is another game got draw all over it. The exotics, it's a 1-2-3. Obviously, I've had to go. I like Brighton, the two teams. Paul, Leicester were woeful last night. Without Maddison and Harvey Barnes, the spirits seem to have gone.
Yeah.
Even though Iheanacho
They're quality. When you've got quality service in those boys, it's a different story.
It's the last third, Paul, and people back off them, and they just seem to be lacking.
But it's getting to the stage now that every end of the year or end of the season, they start falling apart, Leicester.
Yeah. They did it last year.
That's what I'm talking about last year. Okay, but let's have a look. West Brom's
Paul,
Newcastle.
on recent form, it should be West Brom. They beat, they drew with United. I thought deserved a point, and they beat Brighton. I know Brighton had missed 2 penalties, but their performances have improved lately. Newcastle are woeful.
Yeah.
If Newcastle get beat, they're in serious trouble. But draw would be my suggestion in that clash.
Liverpool will be too strong for Fulham.
Well, they should, Paul. We'll see tonight what happens. But, Fulham play well. I just think their style of play, especially at Anfield, trying to play out from the back won't work. But in saying that, Paul, they went to Fulham, and Fulham should have beat Liverpool at the Cottage.
Yes, that's
ended in a draw. That was the start of the bad run, but you've got to think Liverpool will win.
Man City, Man United, they do raise their game, but
Paul, the last time
don't want that
Man City come to Old Trafford, they put Foden on the left. Every time Raheem Sterling plays on the left, Wan-Bissaka's got him in his pocket.
Yes.
So they swapped and they put Foden on the left, and Man City should have, they did win, they won 2-0. Paul, I just can't watch Man United at the moment. It's woeful. There's too many players that are lacking.
What's the latest on Pogba?
He'll be back, Paul. I think next year Europa League. I think that's going to be the target for him.
Okay.
He's got to play, Paul. The rest of them can't play. McTominay has to start. Fred and Matic, as we said, they just can't create.
Yeah.
They sit too deep. But it's got to be Man City, Paul. Obviously, as a United fan, I can't back them. But in all fairness...
Tottenham should beat Crystal Palace.
It should be, Paul. They had a lot of fight last night, but that's one thing Spurs have got, Paul, is a bit of fight. And if they play those 4 boys up front, maybe they'll play Dele Alli this time.
Yeah.
Depends on tonight. Should be Tottenham all day, Paul.
Okay, Chelsea-Everton.
Paul, Everton, if ever there's a guy I wanted at Old Trafford, it's Ancelotti. You saw what he did at Anfield. He's a clever manager, Paul. He was a superb player. If ever there's an upset this weekend, this is it. Chelsea got to Liverpool tonight while Everton have got West Brom.
5-10 for the weekend.
Yeah, Paul, I can't see that. I think they'll drift.
They're on Monday.
I think it's 9-10, both teams to score. That would be my play there.
West Brom leads. Exciting game.
West Ham leads, Paul.
Oh, West Ham, sorry.
Well, I fancy West Ham. I've been really impressed with them. They seem a good spirit. They never played in midweek. No, neither did Leeds. But I was really disappointed with Leeds against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Everything that they tried didn't work.
They're entitled to have a bad game.
Sure. This should be a cracker Monday night.
This is exciting.
I think West Ham have got their number. They beat them 2-1 at Elland Road.
Okay.
11-10 for me, Paul.
All right, just before we touch on the championship, we're just going to run through these results, Budge, for people who don't know that on Tuesday and Wednesday there were championship games.
Yeah.
Huddersfield drew with Birmingham, Millwall 2-1 Preston, Cardiff 4-0 Derby, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Coventry City 1, Middlesbrough 2. They just off
late.
the playoffs.
Yeah, Neil Warnock,
Notts Forest got beat at home by Luton
Couldn't
Town.
believe that, Paul. Cost me money.
And Reading managed to pick up 3 points.
I watched that game, Paul. They were lucky, they're hanging on.
Okay, then last night, Budge, Norwich City beat Brentford.
I thought it would be on, Paul. It was an early kickoff, but it wasn't on.
QPR won the half-line Barnsley 3.
Barnsley.
Watford comfortable 2 over Wickham.
Yeah.
Bristol City 1. Bournemouth on the
Bournemouth
move.
scored last minute, Paul.
Last minute 2-1, Get them the point. Sheffield Wednesday 1. Rotherham 2.
Rotherham 2 had 1 all. I backed Sheffield Wednesday. I thought 5 wins in the last 6 at home. Paul had a player sent off. They were 1-0 up, 1-0 down. Sheffield Wednesday got back to 1-all. Rotherham with 10 men scored in injury time. 2-1.
Can you believe it? And Stoke City got beat again. But Swansea
scored late, Paul.
Doing a lot of late goals,
Yeah.
Right, let's look at the fixtures, Budge. We've gone through the results.
Yeah.
Huddersfield, Cardiff.
Cardiff would have going to be my bet of the weekend, Paul, but it's a Friday, and so, you know.
Why can't you back it yourself?
Well, I'm going to back it.
Yeah,
That's guaranteed. I'm
yeah.
going to be all over them. I think
Yeah.
they'll be too good for Huddersfield.
Watford.
Fancy.
Monroe.
But yeah, Paul, I watched last Friday. Notts Forest drew 1-1 with Derby. What a good game. Forest played well.
Yeah.
I just can't believe they lost to Luton. This isn't, I know this is Steve's best bet, but this isn't cut and dry. But, you know, Watford
What's
are
his
a good
best
team.
bet? Watford.
Watford, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully that's my bet. I've got a bet on
Oliver
Watford.
Skip, Spurs midfielder. 33 games in a row he started.
For Watford.
In man of the match, yeah.
Well, the young United
He's 20 year, but they
midfield-
can't sign him.
Can't they?
No, Spurs, I mean, they can't buy
I
him.
can't buy him, yeah.
Spurs, so you're getting no Oliver Skip from us. 33 games in a row, he scored goals. Man of the match most games. He's really had a great time there at Watford, which is good. It's a good team for
Well, United's
Daniel
youngster, James Garner, he's a Michael Carrick clone. He's been under his...
He's supposed to be a very good player.
He's gone to Notts Forest. He was at Watford, couldn't get a game. He's gone to Notts Forest. That was a change in form, so we'll see. So it should be a good game. Two good youngsters.
Okay, and then you got Barnsley.
Barnsley
Birmingham.
Butchers, as my dad calls them. Yeah.
Who's had the run of games?
That's them.
That's them,
8
eh?
to 10. But Birmingham, that's Mourinho's right-hand man who's in charge there. Away from at home, they can't win at home. Birmingham. Away from home, they get most of their points. They caused an upset last week. I just don't see it. But I watched Barnsley play Chelsea, Paul. They lost 1-0. They could have won. They had chance after chance.
So they're a fair side.
They're a good side.
Is that
Paul.
the Israeli coach?
That's the Israeli coach. So I can see 8 to 10, Paul. 6 in a row. Magnificent 7 on the horizon.
Brentford, Rotherham. Brentford
Should
for
be,
me.
Should be Brentford, yeah.
And then Bristol QPR, Budge.
Well, I like Bristol City. They're my best each way, like Steve. You know, that Nigel Pearson, he was the guy that built Leicester.
Yes.
And then he got axed, and the Italian came in.
He was a hard man when he played.
Yeah, he was centre-half,
Yeah,
back,
hard
Sheffield
man, yeah.
Wednesday, yeah. QPR got beat last night by Barnsley. I like Bristol City, Paul. They're just hanging around the playoffs. 18 to 10 is a good price.
Coventry, Derby. Derby got a smack in the week.
4-0, but yeah, the last time they went to that ground, they beat Birmingham 4-0. I think that's got a draw written all over it, Paul. It's 1-2-3 exotics, but a draw for me there.
Millwall.
Paul, Millwall beat my boys Preston 2-1, but I watched Blackburn lose 1-0 to Reading. They've had a terrible run. Paul, they missed chance after chance after chance. They've got a guy, I think his name's Armstrong up front. They're going to catch somebody one of these days, Blackburn. You know, Millwall in a draw, but I think there'll be goals in that game, Paul.
Okay, then Reading have to keep winning if they want to stay in the hunt.
Reading...
They got Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, that's we've got Norwich. Norwich to beat Luton is the last slide on there. Norwich will be too good
I
for
missed
Luton.
that. Yeah, Norwich Luton.
Too good, Paul. 4 to 10 certainties.
Okay, sorry. Then let's go to, Preston against Bournemouth. Hard
Paul,
game, Budge.
Paul, we beat all the bad teams. We can't beat the upper teams. I had a look at us against the other sides. Paul, it should be Bournemouth. This is the time of the year where the better players and better teams stand up. Promotions on the horizon for Bournemouth. They've got to win this. As a Preston fan, I'd take the draw.
Reading hoping to stay in
Yeah,
the
it
hunt.
should be, Paul. Sheffield Wednesday, totally out of form. Reading, I think, are in 5th, going well. Should be Reading.
Yeah, they won last night, I think,
Yeah.
or Tuesday. Stoke City, Wickham.
Well,
Stoke,
Wickham are tailed off. That's the only reason why Stoke are 6 to 10. Their form isn't the best, but playing a Wickham team who are tailed off, you've got to think they should win.
and then Swansea,
Well, it's a
Middlesbrough.
tight
Good
game. Yeah, that's
Good
a
game.
close game. If ever there's a 0-0 game, that could be it. Neil Warnock of Middlesbrough, always in contention. Swansea going well under Steve Cooper. Cost us last week, but Swansea in a draw for me there.
Okay, let's talk local soccer, Budge. Interesting, getting very,
I
very
watched
interesting.
most of
now.
the games this week, Paul.
I'm just going to run through some results and you
Yeah.
can just tell me about them. Amazulu beat Supersport.
Fair and square.
Big win.
Good win.
Who's in charge?
Benny's in charge.
Benny's
doing
in charge.
great,
So he's always down on the beachfront.
Now, problem is that when both teams have scored, Crobble had a great chance to equalise, but Amazulu beat them fair and square, Paul.
Marisburg beat Black Leopards.
That was a
another
big
local
game,
one.
both teams
Yeah.
at the bottom, so a good result for them.
TS Galaxy beat Swallows.
Yeah, they beat Swallows.
These are upset results.
Paul, Swallows have drawn more than they've won. That's the problem. Been
But they
unbeaten
don't
for a
lose
long
too
time.
often.
Well, they got beat during the week, yeah.
And Pirates keep rolling with a 1-0
There
win.
was a terrible tackle before half time. The Celtic player got sent off and
Oh,
ended up
shit.
winning, yeah.
Now on Wednesday, there was one day you didn't want to watch.
I did
Golden
watch.
Arrows 0, Barocco 0, Chipper United 0.
Well, it's
Cape
the
Town
worst
City
game
0.
I've ever seen in my life. Chipper. I had a bet. I went both teams to score. I watched them full Giorgio's box.
Yes.
But the only thing about it was they played each other in the cup on Sunday, went to extra time. But what a terrible game. Golden Arrows couldn't score.
Let's look at the
Sadly.
standings. But let's look at the top and then the bottom first. The top of the log, Sundowns.
Home and rub down like Man
Home and
City.
home and rub down like 36 points of 16 games.
Yeah.
In second of 19 games, 33 points, Supersport.
No, they can't win it, Paul.
Pirates, 19 games,
They're the only
32.
danger,
Home and
Pirates.
rub down, you're right. Swallows, 30 points off 17. They could go back into second.
Yeah.
And Golden Arrows, 29 off 17 at the bottom. The bottom side's Black Leopards, who have 12 points off 17. Maritzburg have 12 points off 16. They need a point or
Well,
so.
they were lucky they beat them the other day.
Yes, very lucky. And then TTM,
Yeah, Takuma Matsi, yeah.
Takuma Matsi have got 15 points of 16 games. Still very
Lot
tight.
to play for,
Lot
Paul,
to
yeah.
play for.
Need
Right,
a
let's
few
look at the
wins.
weekend's games. But Super Sport,
Paul, it's a Friday night game, Paul. You just can't trust them. There's something gone missing there. Since Dean Furman's gone,
yeah,
they just haven't been the same team, Paul. It should be Super Sport, but you know the draw's obviously a player as well. Disappointed in midweek how they played.
Cape Town City, Stellenbosch.
Well, they're good to
local
watch. Of all
derby.
the teams to watch, they can play. Cape Town City, Paul. Cape Derby,
They
Steve Barker.
didn't score last night.
Didn't score, but they had chances, Paul. And I think Cape Town City will beat them. But we know what it's like local derby, Paul.
Yeah,
Even money,
yeah,
both
yeah.
teams to score, but it should be Cape Town City.
Chipper Pirates.
Paul, I can't believe how bad Chipper were. They just kept the ball at home, didn't want to go anywhere. Pirates, great chance, 9-10 to beat them in PE, Paul.
Bloem Celtic, Maritzburg.
Yeah, Bloem Celtic away from home are woeful, but they put up a fight against Pirates. Maritzburg, you just don't know what you're going to get in, but Bloemfontein Celtic at home
Was
are hard to
Tinkler
beat.
involved?
No, Tinkler's gone. It's that Middendorf, he's back at Maritzburg. But Paul,
Is
it should be...
Tinkler coaching?
I don't know who he is, if he's involved with anybody, but he's
Okay.
got not a head coach.
All right.
Yeah, Black Leopards, Golden Arrows. I watched the game at Sugar Ray Kulu Stadium, and Black Leopards played great and beat them 2-1. Different story at home. They can't win at home, Black Leopards. You know, they beat Benny's team in the cup, but Benny rested all his main players. But a draw, big player there, Paul.
Swallows?
2-1. I can't have Swallows, Paul. They drew 2-2 in the cup last week and got beat on penalties. So I think the draw is a player. That's what I think.
Where's Chiefs this weekend?
Yeah, they're in the CAF Champions League. They play against a team from Angola. So it's in
Okay.
the exotics and Sundays as well.
All right, Buzz, let's look at your soccer picks.
Yep. Yeah, Paul, Soccer 6 is the Gold Circle Soccer 6. I'm bankering Arsenal to beat Burnley. I'm going the field in the Watford-Nottingham Forest game because I think Southampton will be too good for Sheffield United. And I think Norwich City will outclass Luton Town. So I bank at them. And I've gone the field in the Aston Villa Wolves, Brighton, Leicester, 162. 3 fields, 3 bankers.
Okay, your next one, Buzz.
The next one is the one that includes South African sides. I'm bankering Arsenal to beat Burnley. I'm going Cape Town City win and draw at home against Stellenbosch. I'm going the field in the TP Mzembe Mamelodi Sundowns game. I'm going Bloem Celtic to avoid defeat at home against Maritzburg United. I'm bankering Orlando Pirates to beat Chipper United. And I'm going the field in the Kaizer Chiefs Petro de Luanda clash 2-1-6.
Petro de Luanda. I
Yep.
take it they come from Luanda.
Yep. And
Okay, your 10.
Soccer 10, yeah, I'm bankering Arsenal to beat Burnley. I'm going the field in the Watford-Nottingham Forest game. I'm bankering Southampton to beat Sheffield United. Norwich to beat Luton. Swansea City win and draw at home against Middlesbrough. My second page, I'm going the field in the Aston Villa Wolves game. I'm going Bayern Munich. I've thrown the draw in at home to Borussia Dortmund. I don't see Juventus losing at home to Lazio. I'm backing Barcelona to win at Osasuna. And I'm going Brighton win and draw at home against Leicester. I'd love to bank at the draw, but I'm going win and draw 288.
Okay, Budge, let's look at the 13.
On to the 13. I'm going Wolves win and draw at Aston Villa. I'm going Brighton to avoid defeat at home against Leicester. I'm bankering Southampton to beat Sheffield United. Bristol City win and draw at home against QPR. I'm going Coventry City win and draw at home against Derby. I don't see Millwall losing to Blackburn Rovers, even though I think there'll be goals. I'm bankering Reading to beat Sheffield Wednesday. My second page, I've gone Swansea City win and draw at home against Middlesbrough. I'm banking Norwich to beat Luton, Stoke City to beat Wickham, Brentford to beat Rotherham, Barnsley to beat Birmingham City, and I'm going Bournemouth to win or draw at my beloved Preston North End.
Okay, Budge, your best bets. This is always interesting.
Yeah,
Tell me
Paul,
your thinking here.
Starting with a treble, I'm going Arsenal to beat Burnley and over 1.5 total goals. I'm
Both
backing.
teams can contribute.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going Southampton to be too good for Sheffield United. And I'm going West Ham to beat Leeds and over 2.5 total goals.
Okay.
2,200 to 200. Our championship, it's a treble this week, Paul, because I fancy a couple of prize teams. I'm going Cardiff City to beat Huddersfield. I'm going Bristol City to beat QPR. And over 2.5 goals, Brentford Rotherham, 2,000 to 200.
Okay,
Our both teams to score sides are Aston Villa Wolves, West Brom, Newcastle, Chelsea, Everton, and Millwall, Blackburn, 2,400 to 200. Our team goals only, I'm going these three teams to score over 1.5 goals. Arsenal, Southampton, and Blackburn, and Everton just to score. Couldn't believe the price. 6.5 to 10, 3,600 to 200. Paul, I like that bet.
Good man, Budge.
Our PSL quadrant, I'm going Bloemfontein Celtic to beat Maritzburg, Orlando Pirates to beat Chipper, and I'm going both teams to score, Black Leopards, Golden Arrows, and Cape Town City Stellenbosch, 2,400 to 200.
Collis King?
And our Collis King 6 or next, I'm going Southampton to beat Sheffield United, West Ham to beat Leeds United, Cardiff City to beat Huddersfield, Brentford to beat Rotherham. I think Bayern Munich could be too good for Dortmund, and I think Napoli will beat Bologna. 7,200 to 200, Paul. 36 to 1.
That's the money. That's the money.
Paul, the funny thing is a lot of them are around about 8 to 10, 9 to 10 even money.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how quickly it
multiplies.
It adds,
51 guys left out of 54. Don't forget, it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the last one standing. Some big names still rolling, the legends in, the holder, Short Phillips still in. Mood the dude just snuck into your thinking.
Todd favoured him and Jacko Pretorius.
The guy without a surname still leading.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Budge should be excellent this weekend.
No, pressure's on.
It's getting
now.
harder. It's getting harder.
Yeah, we'll see.
Until next time, stay on side.